So we've got a couple of, and there are no declarations of interest, so I'll clear that. And I just want to make a couple of statements before we go into public participation. So, the apology be accepted. Pauline seconded Tim. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. I want to first of all begin by noting with sadness the passing of Dawn Cottier on the 3rd of April in her 83rd year. Dawn was a member of the Towhare and Tau families and was a much-loved kaumātua from Rapaki. She will be farewelled by her whānau from Te Whiki Marae, I believe, tomorrow. Dawn was a long-standing representative for her community on Banks Peninsula, both as an elected representative for the Banks Peninsula District Council for close to 2 decades, and following local government amalgamation as a community board member for Littleton Mount Herbert Board from 2006 to 2010. Dawn was committed to both young and old in the community and was closely involved with redesigning playgrounds, championing community safety and crime reduction, and supporting community arts. Dawn's extraordinary community commitment was recognised by her being presented with the Queen's Service Medal for Community Service in 2004. As the Banks Peninsula District Council is one of our precursor councils, I'd like our councillors to stand for a minute's silence in acknowledgement of the passing. Thank you. The second thing that I would like to do is to pay tribute to our rural firefighting staff for their work on the Port Hills fire. The firefighting effort has now closed, so it's timely to acknowledge those firefighters. I believe, I'm just looking forward, Darren. You were out of scope. I'm really glad that you're here, Darren, because I would like you to be able to take this back for your colleagues. Council had over 40 staff directly involved in the Port Hills firefighting effort. Now that's the firefighting effort. On top of that, we had hundreds of staff who were involved in the emergency response. Council would like to acknowledge your leadership role, Darren, and as our Principal Rural Fire Officer, and just say how proud we are of you and of your colleagues. And I would like councillors to acknowledge you and your colleagues in the usual manner. Now, I do want to say a couple of other things. In peacetime, Civil Defence is an organisation. It's an agency. It has individual councils have their own civil defence staff. I think we have about 3. But in times of emergency, Civil Defence is not an organisation. It's a way of working. And I really want to emphasise that, because we are very quick to say Civil Defence did this, or Civil Defence did that, or didn't do this, or didn't do that. Civil Defence is a way of working in an emergency. And in an emergency, council staff walk away from their day jobs and they take up roles in the Emergency Operations Centre that we establish that operates 24/7. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, while the state of emergency is in play. And those people's those people's day jobs, they don't get backfilled. And so you usually find that we have incredible staff who continue to keep an eye on their day job and go back to a backlog once they're out of the Emergency Operations Centre. So I think we should just acknowledge in a post-disaster environment that there are people whose roles and responsibilities change when there is a crisis. And, everyone really stood up. I've had the opportunity now to sit in the Emergency Operations Centre on more than one occasion and watch people working. And I have to say, the professionalism is outstanding, and they are professional to the individual, right across the teams. Every single group that's set up in that Emergency Operations Centre, even though it's not their day job. But it's more than that. They reach out because, as I say, civil defence is a way of working. They reach out to other agencies. So civil defence are council staff coming from their day jobs into an Emergency Operations Centre. It's the police, it's the fire service, it's the rural firefighters, it's the St John's Ambulance, it's the social welfare agencies. Everyone who comes together in a time of emergency, those people are together. The way they work together is called civil defence. So I just want to make that point, because I think we're often quick to form judgments about particular approaches that have been adopted, and it's really important that we have the line on the eye on continual improvement, but it's really important that we acknowledge what a significant contribution that all of these people make to the security of our city in times of emergency. And I left the Defence Force out as well, because they also play a really important role. It's always important as part of an event to review what's happened as part of that continuous quality improvement approach. But I want to again make a point about reviews, because we've conducted a review of the tsunami warning that was issued as a result of the Huranui Kaikoura earthquake, and that will be released very soon. It's almost complete. We've had feedback from McDem and from our own group in terms of civil defence responses, and I just think that it's really important to think about the purpose of these reviews. They are not about looking back for blame, they are about looking back to understand. Looking back to understand what's occurred in order to improve the way things are approached in the future. That's why you review, and that's why we want to have that conducted in an environment that continues to acknowledge people operating in the way civil defence does in an emergency, and also acknowledging the fact that there are thousands of civil defence volunteers from one end of the country to the other. And we want people to continue to volunteer for those roles, and I think so that's why it's important that we always learn from our experiences, and we can't change what has occurred, but we can always create meaning out of any disaster and create opportunity as well. That being said, we'll probably be back to recognise the recovery effort. The recovery planning process is going exceptionally well, but we also, our hearts again go out to the family who have experienced loss, and also to those who have lost their homes and others who have experienced loss in other ways, we really do know that it's still going to be a long journey for a number of those people before the recovery is able to be achieved. But again, looking for opportunity, the opportunity in the Port Hills to reinstate something that is really special to New Zealand, and especially heartfelt by the people of Christchurch in terms of what the regeneration opportunities will be in that area as well. So Darren, I'm sorry that you've had to listen to me rave on, but I think it is important that we remind ourselves what civil defence is. But you guys, we're so proud of you, and that's a message from every single one of us sitting around the table, and I know a very grateful city. So thank you very much.
Thank you.